Hey folks, welcome back to West Virginia Cryptids and Strange Encounters. Today I'm in Minerva, Ohio. I'm actually on the property just outside of Minerva, which in 1978, not necessarily on this property, but nearby, 1978, there was a creature seen on a family farm that later was named Minerva Monster. So right now, I've been invited to come up, spend a couple days here on the property where there's been some activity. Some people were like claiming it might be Bigfoot activity. Some people were saying it's some kind of paranormal activity. But there's been some strange things happen here. I was just outside and was walking this trail, or kind of a roadway, and had a red light on and was able to see some eyes in the trees. So there's some critters out there. But I looked up to my left a little ways out the trail, and I seen a set of red eyes. Can't say what it was. I'm not sure, because they were kind of low. They weren't up in the tree. These were low. Can't say what it was. It might have been a smaller critter. They weren't very, very far apart, but I did see those. But at the same time, like right before that, and at the same time, back toward the cabin I'm in, I could hear some kind of noise back this way. And I'm not sure what that was. I heard it two or three times. I'm not sure. But I'm going to get ready, and I'm going to do some experimenting with some sound. I might not be able to record that because I got actually use my phone, since I had forgotten to record the sounds on something else. I don't know if I'm hearing a distant vehicle or like a grunting sound. I'm not sure what I'm hearing. I don't know, maybe I'll go outside here in a few, while I'll get everything ready for the sound, and go outside here and see what I can hear. Check it out a little more. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. All right, folks, I was just outside using this camera here. I'm actually here filming kind of for a small town monsters thing. And I took that camera out because this is just my phone. I don't have any night vision on it. And I heard a grunt noise a couple times. I guess you want to say grunt, but it's almost like like someone clearing their throat in a way. Kind of like that. So I come out just to see what I could hear or see. And off in the distance over here, there is a little pine grove. And I thought I could hear mumbling sound. I don't know if it was loud enough to pick up on a camera, but I could hear it off that distance, off in that way. So I yelled, hello, that way, turned, yelled, hello, this way, nothing. And then all of a sudden, something thumped at the cabin. I don't know if something hit the cabin. Oh, that's what it is. Turkeys. Oh my God, I hear. There's turkey up in there roosting. Roosting turkeys. That should have picked up on the camera. Phew, that kind of scared me at first, but I guess that's debunked. Well, after that little bit of scare, I guess you say, my little startle, I decided to come in and get something to eat. And I'm eating or trying chicken with noodles, MRE. Not digging it. For one, I don't think the chicken's supposed to taste like tuna. And it does. I'm probably going to have some issues. Because I'm not going to, you know, for what I just ate like 2 or 3 spoonsful. And yeah, it tastes like tuna. It's not supposed to, folks. I don't know about that. God bless our military. When they got to eat this crap. I mean, I've only had a handful, or not even a handful, a couple of these things that are even good. And I think the last one I ate was chili some time ago. And I called it 2-step chili. And use your imagination. You can kind of understand why. Because that's about all that I had to get when I got out of my camper was 2 steps. Whew, I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if I can do this. Might stick with my combos. I think my dog's food looks better than that. Would you guys eat it? I'll try one more. No. No. Nope. Nope. I'm done. That's it. No more. Oh my goodness. Folks, if you can, please say a prayer for me. I probably need it. Oh my goodness, that was bad. That's bad. Bad. But there are some other parts to it. We got pretzels, which shouldn't be too bad. Crackers. I have eaten these before. They're kind of dry, tasteless. So we got cheese spread. It's usually, I don't want to say this, flavored Vaseline, cheese flavored Vaseline in a way. So maybe I'll try that later. Oh, and we got the little accoutrements. A little hot sauce, some gum, some matches, some coffee. I don't drink, it's a bad thing I don't drink coffee. And this. Now you explain to me, folks. Explain it, really. Somebody needs to explain this to me. that meal usually sends you, you know where. That's a TP they give you. What am I gonna do with that? Don't know. All right. See you later. It's after midnight. It is time to crawl into bed here. It's been a long day. Got the fire stoked up. Got a recorder outside. Got the a game camera on a tree outside. Hopefully, maybe catch something. Heather Mosier and her husband just left. They come out and checked on me. You know, we walked around the woods a little bit. Didn't see much. Saw something weird, but we couldn't tell what it was. Might have just been tricks of our eyes, I guess, maybe. Not sure. But I know I'm getting tired, extremely tired. So with that being said, I will catch you in the morning. Anything happens during the night, I will let you know. Bye. Good morning, everyone. It's around 9:30, and I finally got to sleep probably about somewhere around 2. I just could not get to sleep, and I got hot. Opened the window, and finally cooled off enough to get to sleep. And right as I went to sleep, I'd probably been asleep for a couple minutes. I may or may not had something hit the cabin. Not hit it hard, but a knock. There was like 2 or 3 knocks that woke me up. I'm listening to the recorder a little bit now that was outside. Maybe it picked it up. If it actually happened, I don't know. But I'm hoping it did. And I'm hoping something did. So we'll see how that goes. Well, I had plans on getting out and hiking around and going to a couple different areas today. I might have to hold off for a little bit. It just started to pour down the rain. Wasn't looking forward to that. And yesterday it said there's only like a slight chance early this morning. But yeah, this kind of sucks, really. Hopefully it clears up, though. It'll give me a chance to listen to the recorder a little bit from last night, and I'm going to eat my breakfast. And hopefully something did pick up on the recorder. I'm not confident I actually heard something. You know, I was asleep, but I don't know. Maybe something picked up. And we'll see. But now it's breakfast time. All right, after the incident last night with the possible knocking on the cabin here, I'm going to do something I've done in the past, and that's make what I call print traps. I'm not sure if they work or not, or if anything will come around, but it's well worth giving it a shot. And basically what that is, as you can see, this is just like a hot dog fork. You can use a rake, you can use something else, a stick, and just rake back some of the material in the area, soften the ground up, and basically make a soft substrate for where something would step that would produce a print. So that's what I'm going to do around here, around the back side of the cabin. And I also, right here, it's just some stuff laying around, some material laying around. I'm going to leave out kind of like as maybe a gift. I don't do gifting very much, but I do know they do that Heather does gifting here on the property with crystals and stuff like that, and it has had results. So what I'm going to do is just use some natural, or just stuff laying around, a stick and a rock. I'm going to place it kind of in like a specific manner. I'm going to take some pictures of that, and then hopefully something will possibly think it is, you know, it's interesting, and decide to move it or take it or leave something for me. But right now I'm just going to do the print traps. The knocking that I heard, well, I want to stress this again. Not 100% I heard it. I was asleep. I had just gotten to sleep, and there was a noise that to me sounded like a knocking on the cabin, lightly around in this area, because I was sleeping right here on a couch inside, right inside that window, and it woke me up. Could have been a possibility that because there are, I guess, squirrels and stuff, but I have not heard any squirrels today. Never heard any yesterday inside the cabin up in the roof. Could have been because I opened the window. It was hot in the cabin, and I did hear that contraction and expanding of material, you know, when I was laying there before I fell asleep. I could tell where that was. It was coming from the stove and stuff. But this here, the actual knock that I heard was distinctive to me, you know, at that point. It almost sounded like something walked up here. It's pretty interesting because I just caught my eye. That there has been rubbed over. Don't know. It may have been that way already. I'm not sure. But it sounded like that, kind of like that. Like that. 2 to 3 times. Not quite sure if it was 2, you know, 3, but in my mind, like I said, my sleepy, groggy mind, it sounded like 2 to 3 times. So, again, with that being said, let's start making these traps. Not the best material or the best tool for it, but it should work. Like I said, you gotta break up the ground. And I know you all can't see it, but there's a definite print where I just stepped. You can definitely see a print. So that's the objective here. Like I said, not the best tool. Pretty flimsy. We'll reach our goal. Yep. Footprint. That'll work. This will work even better. Did not see that there. That works a lot better. Perfect. Perfect. I'm gonna continue to do this around the backside for short distance, and yeah, maybe we can catch something later this evening, later tonight, whichever. I'm gonna continue around the backside over to, there's a doorway. Seth was here earlier and told me that on a couple occasions when he was here sleeping, that's the room he would be in, is the one adjacent to the one I was in, and he would hear what he said it sounded like something with labored breathing, like it was having a hard time breathing a couple times at the back door, near this back door. So I'm gonna go that far and go from there, and again, hopefully something works. All right, folks, let me take you show you what I did. All right, here's what we've done. Tilled up all the ground, kind of got it soft enough to where if something would step like that, you should be able to pick up a print. May not be huge or very deep, but it'll definitely show up. And hopefully we can get something to come in around the cabin tonight, all the way to the door. So that's a little trick I've used a couple times. I've done it once in Randolph County. I didn't have any success capturing anything, but later the next day is the time I actually had handprints appear on my van. I found handprints on the van, but I don't think it happened when I was in the area where I had the prints or the print trap around my van. I think it did it when I was at another area. So that's one objective today done. It's getting that done. Hopefully we can capture something. And the next one is later when Heather gets here, get to the woods up there, what they call the Rugaroo Woods. We're going to do some different stuff. I'm going to set up a tent, and we may do a little bit of paranormal investigation type stuff. You know, maybe take a ghost box, K2 meter, because she's claiming that there's some weird stuff going on in that area, and that's where she first had experienced the activity while she was doing like a ghost hunt up in that area. Although the activity she experienced at that time wasn't paranormal, it was more Bigfoot type related. There has been some weird stuff go on up there. So that's what the next objective is. She's supposed to be here in another hour and a half, and hopefully we can get that done. All right, everybody, I want to show you what I'm going to take to the Rugaroo Woods here in a little while. It's your standard one-person backpacking tent. I've used this tent on multiple occasions for my own shelter, but I'm going to use it tonight as a decoy tent. I'm going to set it up, put a camera. Oh, I forgot about the camera. Hold on. Get the other. Okay, we're going to have one Muddy is the brand. Trail camera. The Bluetooth speaker, which has a light feature on it. It's pretty neat. So I'm going to turn it on. You might want to turn your volume down a little bit because it is loud.
Power on. The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
You can set the different features on the lights to do certain things. It actually will, the strobe or whatever, it goes along with the music or the voice. So that's an interesting tool that I've picked up recently on the cheap from the dollar store. Half price, $7.50. Thought it was cool to try this, bring out to try. I will have EMF detectors, your standard ghost meter that everybody bought back in the day. Same as the K2. Everybody bought these back in the day. I have that. There's an air meter. Another EMF detector here that I picked up on Amazon that was fairly cheap. In this one, I have the recorders. Will probably leave this recorder, the Olympus. And I have the SB7 Spirit Box, was what the ITC research device. Most people that are into paranormal activity or paranormal research or investigations most likely has this in their toolkit. It's kind of like the updated version of the old Hack Shack back in the days. If you don't know what that is, that's when somebody found out that you could take one of the little radios from Radio Shack, bend a tab inside or a little connection and cause it to scan through radio stations. I did that a long time ago when I found out how to do it, which I had great results with it. I actually think I had better results with it than I do this. But this is basically like the updated version. I mean, it's not even updated anymore. You actually got better ones now, but this is one that most people probably have in their arsenal. It just scans through radio stations, and sometimes you can get communication, or what seems to be communication. I have gotten pretty neat results from it. So we'll be using that probably later up in Rugaroo Woods to do a slightly different type of investigation than what people are used to when it comes to Bigfoot. And like I said, I'm not only here for the type of activity that seems to be Bigfoot here. I'm also here to check out some of the paranormal type activity. Okay, that's the tools I'll be using here later at the Rugaroo Woods. I know they're not standard Bigfoot type related tools. The recorders and stuff, yeah. The speaker in the tent, that's going to be, I'm done that once, not with the speaker, but with the tent and a light. But I'm going to use the small tent, put a recorder, a camera in the Rugaroo Woods. But I'm also using the other stuff for like paranormal activity type stuff. Again, not the traditional Bigfoot type investigation, which I'm not here just for the Bigfoot investigation. I'm here because I want to see if there's anything behind some of the paranormal activity, experiences that Heather and her family have been experiencing. So that's some of the tools we're going to be using, and hopefully we can get up there and do that pretty soon. All right, folks, we're in the Rugaroo Woods. Going to set up the dummy tent, the one-man tent, as a decoy. We'll leave a recorder up here somewhere. Put a camera out also. I'm not sure where to put it. I don't want to put too close to the tent, but I want it kind of within sight where you get a decent picture. I'm noticing some deer activity. Heather and I walked up through here. We saw one deer. saw several tracks. You can see a very fresh buck rub right there. There's a couple older ones. There's an older one. There's another older one. So there's quite a few buck rubs here. Quite a bit of deer activity. But this is right up behind Heather's house, and she's having some activity within this area and closer to her home. She just finally told me about it, and it's strange. I won't really divulge that, because that's her personal information, but it's pretty strange. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up the little one-man tent, and then maybe we'll do some stuff with the ghost box and stuff like that after we have a look around. All right, get that all set up. Should be okay. Should be close enough. Well, hopefully we catch something. Also, for a little added bonus, found this on the way up here. I'm going to set it right here on the stump next to the tent, and hopefully something will mess with that.
Warm up my ears with my head.
Yeah. Oh man. Mine's,
Yeah.
yeah, it was going off in my backpack. So it's not gonna work.
No. But maybe at the cabin it will.
Yeah. Let me unplug it.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Okay. But another thing that's going on is Bigfoot related here. There is some paranormal aspects to all the stuff going on. Not necessarily the Bigfoot, but there's some other strange stuff.
Yeah.
So, for kicks and giggles, we're just gonna sit out here and see if we can talk to somebody else. So here we go.
Auxiliary input mode.
Okay, here we go. So basically what we're going to do is ask questions and see if we get a response from the speakers from the device.
I'm not really getting any words yet.
like to introduce yourself and please tell me your name? Do you have any idea of what is causing some of the strange activity here? And I'm just going to jump right into it. Can you tell me your name? What do you know about the property? You know who owns this property? Have you ever seen a wild man here? Down there, I guess. I don't know.
No, not much is coming through,
No.
which is weird in general that it's not picking up workstations.
Yeah.
Because we're on the top of a hill, it should.
Yeah. All right, there's a recorder in there. We'll leave it set overnight, and we will be back tomorrow. We throwing those in there, just trying to get a response.
See if something will throw something back.
What's that? That dog? Is that a dog? Yeah. anything?
It's just the one tree was really warm.
Mm.
Warmer than others. And so it caught my attention.
So this property has been in the family for what you said, 50-some years,
Yeah. Yep.
and nobody's ever said anything about anything strange happening here.
Now my mother-in-law talked about strange stuff happening in the house, but nothing about stuff in the woods. But she had seen things in the house. And from what I was told, slept in just the one, like, of the bedrooms, chose the one she did because that was the only one she could get any rest in.
So was it whatever they were experiencing in the house, or it was just basically her
Yeah, I mean,
experiencing it?
my sister-in-law, I think, had some experiences too, but I haven't really talked to her about it. I'm pretty sure that my mother-in-law mentioned it to me, but most of it was my mother-in-law.
What about Corey? Nothing?
No.
No.
Not that I'm aware of.
But has he experienced something now that you guys live here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he has. And of course, things here outside. He's experienced some weird stuff, but nothing too crazy for him in the house. But he's aware of, like, the kids and I experiencing stuff.
Yeah.
So.
But has he kind of dismissed most of it until recently? When you said
I don't know if he dismissed it.
Yeah.
He just
Didn't acknowledge it, I guess, maybe.
I guess didn't
Maybe better.
have a reason to think too much of it because he hadn't experienced it.
Okay.
But I don't think he was doubting us by any
Right.
means. Just, now is to a point that, okay, all right, something's going on. You can't deny it now.
When did that happen?
I'm pretty sure
the
during-
house?
Yeah. Actually, no. It would have been the last time when, that's when things got more uneasy in
Right.
the house. But he heard something when Seth was here filming the Bigfoot project. In the first episode, when Seth and I walked down that path,
Right.
and we hear them running around us. Corey was back at the cabin because the kids were in the cabin,
Is that
and
when?
so he heard something come up on the cabin.
Okay. Yeah, I think Seth was telling me about that. It said something come up to the window.
Well,
Kind of.
Seth heard one come up to the window, or heard something come up to the window.
Okay.
But Corey was sitting outside, and he said he heard, like, bipedal footsteps coming up to the cabin. He ended up letting out a yell
Okay.
to spook it back because it was just the kids inside. But that was while Seth and I were hearing what we guess are at least two around us, and then a third was coming up on Corey. So I don't know. Just weird stuff. A lot of weird stuff. And it seems to all happen a bunch at once.
Yeah. And then dies off, because I remember.
Yeah, it lasted. I mean, who knows how long it was going on before we moved here? Because
Right.
we moved here in August. Noticed stuff. I noticed stuff right away. And then Seth was here by the end of August or early September filming, and then stuff died off around November.
How many episodes in was he then? At least 3, wasn't it?
3 or 4 probably at that point. So
Yeah, because there was the first one that you guys did.
mm-hmm.
I can't remember if I was in the second or third.
Mm-hmm.
Then Alex was here. I remember that one.
Yeah, Alex was here. Alex was here pretty early on.
Yeah, it was right after, because I think Seth tried to get to where we both could have been here at the same time, but something went on and we couldn't. And I was like, I think I was here the week before.
Okay. And then, of course, by the spring comes around, when we bring Cliff out here, nothing's happening until I take him out to where I grew up, and we heard the howl there.
And how far away is that?
I mean, it takes 15 to 20 minutes to drive there, but it's still in the county.
Okay.
So probably 12 miles, maybe.
In what direction? Toward, like...
South.
Not toward, like, where the 1978 incident and stuff like that?
No, it's away from that. It's south of there.
Have you, when you researched that and looked into that and you guys did the film, because I was doing some research before I come up, and I did before, but this time I come across the video. I know the guy's name. He's done, his name's David or something. I've seen him on like Ancient Aliens and stuff before. Okay. And he's written a book, and he was talking about the Minerva monster, and he talked about I don't know if it was one of the Caton kids or a next door neighbor, or they were all somewhere. So they seen one of the creatures, and it had 2 mountain lions with it. Have you heard that before?
I've heard Seth talk about it.
Okay.
So they must have told him that when he was filming.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, for some reason I was thinking it was Black Panthers though. Oh. But yes, I've heard 2 big cats.
Yeah, he said big cats.
Yeah, 2 big cats were with them, with one.
That's kind of odd. When you don't you think?
Because we don't have.
We're
not supposed to have big cats around here anyway. But then to have 2 of them at once also.
But why would another animal like that, a supposed animal, have cats with them? I like big cats. If it's supposedly a wild animal, and not a, some kind of
more intelligent.
Yeah, more intelligent, like hominid of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just strange.
There's too many questions.
Yeah.
Like, why is my recorder shutting off?
Yeah. Why are you getting sounds on the recorder in a garage or in a barn and nothing on the trail camera?
Yeah.
You can clearly hear it on your recorder.
Yeah.
What's going on? That's what I was telling you. Seth asked me yesterday about something, and I told him, I was like, because he's like, but he looked at me and said, you're pretty agnostic about a lot of this stuff, and I'm like, well, but there's weird stuff that goes on. Seems like it's related to Bigfoot, but is it really Bigfoot?
Right.
Is are we different? Is there different
things happening?
Yeah, different kinds of phenomena that we're dealing with, but people want to lump it in there.
Yeah.
Is there an actual creature out there, an animal out there, flesh and blood animal, that people are seeing? I believe absolutely yes, because look what people are finding, especially like the Olympic Project. They're finding nests and stuff like that there.
Right.
That's an animal. But when you have somebody claiming to see something that has glowing eyes, or they're doing other things, it's unexplainable. That's not an animal.
Right.
Is it flesh and blood? Absolutely, it could probably be flesh and blood. When it, if it comes from somewhere else, it's flesh and blood when it's here, because it's leaving something. It's leaving.
Right.
different evidence or whatever. I don't know. It's just weird stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, find it unsettling sometimes for some people will just dismiss anything without looking into it.
Yeah.
Eventually you have to look into it, I believe, or you're not going to figure out what's going on.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to get anywhere if everybody sticks to their own camps.
Right. Yeah, because you got to be able to make a separation somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
When in your research, like, hey, yeah, this is an animal. All these characteristics, all these attributes, or whatever it's doing, is an animal. But this over here, no, this is something different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like an occasional thing. It's a lot. It's quite a bit.
Yeah. I hear a rodent chirping or something.
Hmm.
I hear a rodent chirping or something.
This morning there were loons in the pond.
Really?
Yeah. It is the end of another day, second day here in Minerva at the cabin. Done a lot of stuff today. Got out, explored a little bit more, set up the tent and stuff, as you can see from earlier in the video. Then done some thermal work. Talked to Heather for a while. Her and I walked around, done some things. Did a little bit of sound blasting with some coyote calls and some other stuff, just to see what would happen. And we heard a couple things off in the distance, but I've heard that several times since I've been here. I can't really say what it is. They sound like howls. Is it dogs or something? Maybe. It very well could be. But yeah, you could hear stuff every so often. I thought maybe the coyote stuff would get a response, even if it was just coyotes. But nothing. It didn't stir up any other coyotes. No other sounds. Like I said, except for like the howl, like way off in the distance. Again, not sure what that is. But I'm going to stay, or I'm here for one more night. Got the print traps outside of the print trap setup, or whatever you want to call it. The ground scraped up to see if anything comes close to the cabin. Then after that, tomorrow, I'm going to have to go back and retrieve the camera, the tent, and I also had a recorder in the tent, and then get everything packed up and head home. So if anything happens during the night, I'll definitely bring you on and let everybody know what happens. But if not, I will see you in the morning. Bye. Good morning, folks. Last night was pretty uneventful, all except for one time I heard something hit the window. Because it has that distinctive sound that, when you hear something hit a window. It woke me up. I didn't think much about it because the wind was blowing. And then a little bit ago, I'm still resting, and I'm asleep, and I get woke up by this noise. It kind of sounded like a little phone. I don't know. I thought it was a phone. I'm like, where in the world is there a phone? And it quit. And then it sounded like, because I guess there's squirrels somewhere inside this building. And because we heard them yesterday. And I thought the squirrels were running somewhere. And then I just dismissed it, went back to sleep again, kind of dozed off, and I heard what I thought was a phone again. So I got up and I come over here and I heard the like scattering sound, like the squirrels were in the wall. Well, it's not. I'm gonna show you what it is and what the noise was that, hit the window last night. All right, here's where I've been sleeping, and I heard the noise when I got up again. Got about off the bed. There's what the noise has been. That's exactly probably what hit the window, and that was like at 5:30 this morning. So we're gonna have to rescue this little fella. We'll just open the window and let him go. All right, let's rescue this little fella. Are we ready? I hope this window opens easy. Oh, maybe not. All right, well, I can mark that off my list for today, bird rescue. Now it's time to pack up all the stuff. After I'm done with that, I'm gonna check the print traps out here that I did yesterday. And then the last thing is to make the hike back up to the Rugaroo Woods and get the tent, the recorder, and the camera, and then make the trip home. So let's get started. All right, everything's packed up. All the cabin's cleaned up, back to the way it was. Actually, probably a little better than it was. Nobody's been here for a while and could use some cleaning, so swept it up. I've always been told leave wherever you go better than when you got there. So I tried to do that. And yeah, now it's time to go see if we got any footprints. All right. See what we got here. Nothing noticeable at the first glance here. I'm not seeing anything. No footprints. And the little stick and rock I left last night for, I guess you'd say, gifting purposes, has not been moved or disturbed in any way. But it is a beautiful morning. Chilly, it's starting to warm up. Frost was pretty heavy earlier, but it's all starting to go away now. All right, we didn't have any footprints, so next thing I'm gonna do is check the little camera that I put down here, pointing out the little roadway, and then after that, it's time to hit the Rugaroo Woods, pick up the tent, the recorder, and the camera, see if anything's on that. I'm sure there's pictures on this here because there was some vehicles in front of it, some people walking in front of it. So I'm almost positive there's stuff on it. Well, let's see. Yep, 228. Yeah, we'll have to go through them when it's I got a little better view of them. It's kind of dark. But yeah, there are some pictures on there. What they are, I'm not sure. But once I go through them, if there's anything interesting, I'll definitely put them on here. All right, let's get to the Rugaroo Woods. Yesterday when we went out the road, up the road, through the field, and up. Today I'm gonna do a little bit of a different direction. I'm gonna go out across the pond and go up through the the trees over here, because it one time, I forget how long ago it was a few years ago, when Seth and them were out here, they found what they believe was a footprint on the bank over there. So why not go that way, see if there's anything that's been moving through there, and just get another perspective of the property. Seth was also telling me yesterday that they were here once doing some filming, some investigating for the Bigfoot project, and somewhere up in there they also found I guess a cow pelvis, and they believe it came from another part of the property or right adjacent to another property where there's what they're calling the boneyard, where some cattle have passed away and have been discarded. And I guess it's a good ways. I think it's like back over that hill, across another field, down through a valley. It's a good ways. And I remember going there with Seth here when I was here the first time, but we took a side by side and seeing it. But they said that they found somewhere in here, I'm not sure exactly where, one of those cow pelvises hanging on a tree. Wasn't there before. It just happened to be there one time, and they could not figure out how it got there. I do know Heather also has, over time, I think somewhere in this area, had some crystals and stuff out for gifts, and they've been moved and some disturbed, like moved around and maybe even taken. But yeah, Rugaroo Woods is up through there. We can get to it, across the right-of-way field and into the Rugaroo Woods. Not a bad hike, it's not too far. It's just a different way to get there. All right, folks, we're gonna hike up the hill here. I don't know if I'll keep the camera on the whole time unless I find something. I just want to, save you all the agony of hearing me huff and puff to get up this hill. It's not a bad hike, but I know you guys don't want to do that. Kind of going to zigzag through the game trails here to get up there. So I'll turn it back on when we get, unless I find something, I'll turn it back on when I get to the Rugaroo Woods, and we'll go over that stuff. See if anything's been messed with. See if the camera has anything on it. And I'll have to listen to the recorder later. I'm hoping it recorded all night. New recorder says it has 160 some hours worth of recording time. If the batteries lasted, I'm hoping it made it through the night. So yeah, I'll see you when we get there. All right, I found something interesting. I mean, it kind of thought it looked like a little stick structure at first. I don't know exactly what it is, but can you see the bones? They've definitely been chewed on by some little rodents, but there's several. There's even a vertebrae right here. I don't know. Natural, but I can't explain the bones. I don't know how they got here. Something could have brought them here. Something could have also died here, but there's a lot of coyotes around. Maybe they got carried in by that. I just thought it was interesting. I seen the 2 bones up there and noticed this. It's been there a while for sure. I'm sure they know about it. I'm thinking this is the area, somewhere in here is where they found the pelvis in a tree. All right, onward and upward. We're not too far off now. Just that next patch of woods, that's the Rugaroo Woods. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of like what the area is like here. Majority of the time I've been in the woods, down through here, up behind the cabin, out through there. But then you get up here, it's right away, fields, little patches of woods like that. That's the Rugaroo Wood. One like that, and that's just what the area's like. It makes you wonder if there are these creatures here. How are they hiding? I mean, yeah, these woods are, some of them are a little bit sizable, but the majority of them are just small patches. I mean, there's several hundred acres here of woodland. Where are they going? Where are they hiding at? Oh, and that's all based on if they do exist. I always say that because I have not seen one that I can concretely say that they do exist. All right, I can see the tent. So let's get back here and check on things, see if things have been moved around, disturbed. Let's see if that bottle, ooh, I can see from here, the bottle is laying down. What caused that, I'm not sure, but it's definitely been moved. At least it looks like from here. I do remember leaving it set up. Yes, it's laying down. I believe I had it setting up. I'll have to look. I took a picture of it just to make sure. Yep, it's there, or it's laying down. Doesn't mean anything. Anything could have done that. Tent looks undisturbed. I don't see anything obviously different. Let's go check the camera. We have 828 pictures. Amazing. We'll have to check all those out later. If anything's a significance on them, we'll definitely leave them here for you all to see. All right, just come over to open the tent to check the recorder. As you see, it's still running. 17 hours and almost 50 minutes. That's a lot of time to go through. But yeah, that's gonna be a while to go through that. Might have to carry that with me to work while I'm driving. Listen to it with some headphones. Well, time to tear it down. All right, everything's tore down and there's nothing left to do but hike back to the cabin, get my truck, and head back to West Virginia. I just want to say I appreciate and want to thank Heather Moser and their family, Seth Breedlove and the Small Town Monsters crew for inviting me to come out and do this solo investigation, and just to get to hang out here in an awesome area that has some rich history with Bigfoot and right here in Ohio. Like I said, I'm right here outside of Minerva, and yeah, it's been a good time. It's been a relaxing time, been fun. Some stuff to go through, a lot of audio to go through, some pictures to go through. There were a few things that were interesting, like the howls off in the distance, and possible knocking on my on the cabin when I was sleeping. But yeah, it's been a good time, and it's just sad. I'm just sad that it's time to call it quits, or for it to be over. Tomorrow's a new week, and daily life calls. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for watching. And with that, like I said, I always say, get out there in the woods, check them out. If you're into this stuff, get out there. You'll never know what you find. So we'll see y'all later. Bye.